many of us bemoan the biblical illiteracy of the congregations we find ourselves plopped into to preach from week to week. Does biblical literacy need to be addressed by the preacher? Do the stories of Scripture need to be reintroduced somehow into the culture or the congregation?
I think so, because I think we're losing that literacy. I mean, in the culture at large, I don't know, I don't know about people who sit in church on Sunday mornings, but I find, as a storyteller, speaking to a fairly broad swath of Americans. I mean, they're not, they're not all college people that I encounter, or church-reared people. I find less and less recognition of phrases and stories, references that I would have thought were absolutely common. So that one can no longer use a phrase like the widow's mite with the expectation that the audience will recognize this. Not that that's crucial, but you notice these things.
When you tell your stories or create your stories, do you let the story carry you along, or do you plot it out with an end point and know how you're getting there?
I would always rather know where I'm going. I think that to have it all in mind is the least you can do to respect the audience. I would consider it to be arrogant to get up in front of an audience without an idea of where you're going. Nobody should do that. But having it in mind gives you the freedom then to improvise. And if there's one thing I think preachers should try, it is to work without a text. I think this is a door that anyone preaching on Sunday morning should try walking through. If you write a sermon on Saturday, you will remember it on Sunday. The best part of it you will remember. And you will create something better simply looking people in the eye and talking to them based on your memory of what you wrote on Saturday than you will simply by reading off a piece of paper. And I think that's something everyone should try. And the effect on your audience of looking them in the eye, as you and I are looking each other in the eye right now, and talking to them directly, is visceral, and something that you should not give up for your own convenience.
Do you, in creating your stories, you write it out as a text, and then do you do as you've just described?
Yes. Yes.
So
I would always want to write it out. Writing for a writer is how we think. But having written it down, then you have thought your way through, and now it's time to put that text behind you, and create something else in the moment with your audience.
Many preachers are reluctant to publish their sermons, to have people sit down and read them. They want it's a spoken form, and there's quite a bit of difference, a preacher will tell you, from hearing a sermon delivered with the inflection and the silence that you can put around the words. Do you have that as a storyteller? Would you rather tell a story or have it read? Does that have a different impact on the audience, you think?
It's a different form, but I do either one, and I guess I would prefer to write for a reader than to write for an audience. I think there's such limitations on performance, on delivery, compared to the printed page. But I'm dealing in fiction, and you folks are in another line of work, we assume.
What are we dealing in?
You're dealing in revelation.
That's the purpose of preaching, to reveal
Yes.
a deep truth.
Yes, it is. It is. All of the deepest truths are not coming to people from their newspapers, or from watching comedies on television. And in the end, in life's solemn moments, they keep coming back to the church, to the wisdom of the church. They come to have their children sanctified, to have their children blessed, I should say, and to be married, and to be buried. You know.
Those are pastoral moments.
Yes.
Is there a difference between a pastor and a preacher? Pastor Inkvist was a pastor, not a preacher?
I would say that about him. I'm not sure I would tell him that to his face, but that's what I think he is. Yes, because he's speaking to a small group of people, the Lutherans of Lake Wobegon, who know him much too well. And so he doesn't have the advantage of mystery and surprise that a performer would want to have, that a writer, that a speaker would want to have. The guest preacher who comes in has that advantage, who comes in and, does 2 weeks in the summer and does the 2 weeks in January when Pastor and Mrs. Go down to Florida for the Lutheran Pastors Retreat. So he has so many disadvantages as a preacher. When you live in the town and people know your kids and they know your wife and they see you, they watch you so closely, hard for you to stand up in the pulpit and be the person you would like to be.